In this lesson, we'll explain two important terms that will help you understand the mining process fully. These terms are nonce and difficulty. If we take another look at the block header data example, we will see both of them. Okay, perfect. The nonce is a random variable, or a source of randomness in the mining process. The degree of difficulty, on the other hand, is a temporarily fixed number calculated by the Bitcoin protocol that remains constant for 2016 blocks, or approximately 2 weeks, a period set by the system after which it is adjusted. When a miner starts building or mining a block, like the one we see here, all the parameters are known except for the nonce. The nonce is the missing piece of the puzzle that needs to be found and plugged in, so that the resulting block header hash is less than the target difficulty level. Here's how this idea works in practice. Miners need to find a nonce, that is, a random number, for which the block hash is less than the specific target difficulty level. You can think about target difficulty as a fixed number, or a constant, and hence the nonce is the only component of randomness in this calculation. The process is done by trying different values for the nonce repeatedly until a satisfactory hash is found. To illustrate this with an easy-to-understand example, consider a game of dice. Two players play the game and compete with each other. Each throw 2 dice. The first one who manages to throw a sum of the 2 dice which is lower or equal to a predetermined target number wins. If the target level is 10, the game is relatively easy, as only combinations summing up to 11 and 12 cannot win. All other combinations win. If the player throws a 3 and a 4, the sum of the dice makes 7, which is lower than 10, and hence they win. If instead they throw a 5 and a 6, they don't win because the sum of the 2 dice is higher than the target level. Now, if we want to make the game more difficult, we can decrease the target level to 5. In this case, a player needs to throw a dice sum of 2, 3, 4, or 5 in order to win. The odds of this are much lower compared to the previous target of 10, so the game becomes more difficult to win. If we want to make it really hard, we can reduce the target level to 2, and then the only winning combination would be 1 and 1. The Bitcoin cryptographic computational puzzle works in a similar way. Okay, so at this point, we still need to clarify why the block header hash needs to be less than the target difficulty level. Well, target difficulty is determined by the Bitcoin protocol based on the total amount of computer power that is plugged in trying to solve the puzzle. As this is a random process which follows a known statistical distribution, we can calculate in advance what the odds are of finding a nonce that solves the puzzle. This means that we can also calculate the expected average time to find a solution of the puzzle by any node on the network, given the total processing power deployed. As we said before, target difficulty is adjusted by the system every 2016 blocks, or approximately 2 weeks. This is calculated by the Bitcoin software in such a way that the average time to mine a block stays around 10 minutes. This 10-minute block time was chosen as a reasonable compromise between speed and security of transactions on the blockchain. Since more computing power would lead to faster mining of new blocks, the target difficulty needs to be updated periodically in order to keep this process in check and ensure that block time is maintained at 10 minutes on average. If new blocks are mined too fast, this may present challenges to achieving decentralized consensus about the current state of the blockchain, as information about new blocks needs to be spread across the network and reach all nodes. Okay, great. Let's provide an idea about the computer processing power that is currently deployed in this process, shall we? It is defined as a hash rate, or number of hash function calculations per unit of time. The most powerful Bitcoin mining chips can currently perform at a rate of 14 terahash per second. This is 14 trillion hash function calculations per second, and a trillion is a number with 12 zeros. Pretty amazing, right? You should also consider that these chips are designed specifically to optimize the calculation of this particular hash function, and they cannot do anything else. They are called ASICs, which stands for Application-Specific Integrated Circuits. Of course, the more mining nodes there are, and the more powerful the chips being deployed are, the higher degree of mining difficulty over time. Here's a useful visualization that shows us how the hash rate and difficulty have evolved hand in hand since the launch of Bitcoin. All right, excellent. We are almost there. Let's provide a quick summary of the mining process described so far. At the beginning of the process, miners collect new transaction data broadcast on the network and verify it against a set of criteria according to the Bitcoin protocol. Then they order the new verified transactions in blocks. Once they have organized transactions into blocks, miners prepare the new block header and calculate proof of work. The first miner to find a solution to the proof of work puzzle, in other words, to compute a valid hash for the new block being mined, successfully mines this new block and includes it in the blockchain as the latest block. The successful miner gets the block reward for the work done in terms of newly generated coins, which is known as coin-based transaction. The target difficulty for all miners on the network is adjusted by the protocol every 2016 blocks, which is approximately 2 weeks, in order to maintain the average time between blocks at around 10 minutes. This adjustment is done in order to account for the amount of computer processing power deployed by miners on the network. Thus, the more mining power plugged into the system, the lower the bar is, making the hash puzzle more difficult to solve. However, the average block time is kept at 10 minutes. Okay, this will do it for now. I hope that with this lesson we made things fairly clear and you were able to understand how the mining process works. Please post in the course Q&A section if we can help with additional clarifications. In the next lesson, we'll complete the puzzle of distributed consensus, adding game theory into the mix. Stay tuned.